Hello, are you sitting comfortably? I'm going to read Barney Bin Down in the Dumps. Once there was a magic house where everything was alive. The teapot and the kettle and the pot and the clocks and the lamp and the bin. And in the garden there was a wishing well. Barney Bin woke up and looked out of the window at the flowers and the sun. It was the first day of spring. "Hooray!" he shouted and leapt out of bed, dropping rubbish everywhere. "I bet Kitty Kettle will be looking for me to help with the spring cleaning." So off he went to look for Kitty, leaving a trail of rubbish behind him. Kitty Kettle was in the garden telling Peasy Pot, Jack Flash, and Sam Spade how she wanted them to help with the spring cleaning. "What can I do, Kitty?" Barney asked. "You can take this cloth," she said, "and clean the windows, but mind you don't make a mess." So Barney began to clean the windows, but he was so busy rubbing and polishing that he didn't notice he was dropping rubbish all over the floor. "Barney Bin," shouted Kitty Kettle when she came in, "look at this dreadful mess you've made on the floor. You're doing more harm than good." "Off you go," said Kitty crossly, "and don't come back until the spring cleaning is over." Outside the window Jack Flash heard Kitty's angry words and looked in. Barney sat on the step outside, heaving sighs and dropping rubbish. Then he heard in the distance the beep, beep, beep of Peasy Pot's whistle. Now, Barney Bin," said Peasy Pot. "What do you mean by sitting here dropping rubbish? That's loitering and littering. I'll take your name and address. Off you go now, and don't let me catch you here again, spoiling the look of the place with your silly old rubbish." So poor Barney wandered off to a quiet part of the garden, where he sat down sadly. Jack Flash was watching, hidden behind a nearby bush. And suddenly there were shouts of, "Hey you, Barney Bin, what do you mean by dropping rubbish on my flower beds?" It was Sam Spade. "Get out of this garden at once," said Sam furiously, "and don't come back until you learn to stop dropping rubbish." "All right," said Barney. "I'll go, and I'll never come back." So dropping a tear and an old boot, Barney Bin went on his way, leaving the magic house far behind him. He wandered on and on down the long, lonely road. He wandered on and on until the sun set. And when the moon rose and the stars peeped out, he came at last to an old rubbish dump. "Ah, well," he said sadly, "this is just the place for me." So Barney gathered up an old mattress and some old newspapers and made himself a bed. Then he lay down and closed his eyes and went to sleep, dreaming of the friends he would never see again back at the magic house. Meanwhile, at the magic house, Kitty Kettle, Peasy Pot, and Sam Spade were looking for Barney. "Where is that Barney Bin?" they said. "We need him to take away this rubbish." "I'll tell you where he is," said Jack Flash sternly. "He's left home because you were all so mean and horrid to him." "Oh dear, 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 dear," said Kitty Kettle. "What a shame! We must go and look for him and bring him back. But how shall we find him?" "I know," said Jack Flash, lighting up brightly. "If we follow the trail of rubbish that Barney has left behind, we're sure to come to him at last." So, with Jack Flash brightly leading the way, they set off down the long and winding road that Barney Bin had taken. They walked all through the night until, at dawn, they found Barney Bin, sound asleep in the rubbish dump. "Wake up, Barney," they said. "We're sorry we were so mean to you. Please come home." "But I'll just make a mess," said Barney. "Oh, no," they said, "we need you." And as they marched home together, everyone told Barney how much they needed him to keep the magic house tidy. They knew that would make him feel happy. And he did feel happy, picking up rubbish and dropping it, and picking it up and dropping it, over and over again. But everyone was so glad to have him home again that they didn't mind. And Barney did finish the spring cleaning, but it took him until Christmas. And that's the end.
For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain, because today's the day the teddy bears have their picnic.